Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
How
girl.
how you doing?
Doing really well.
Yeah, doing great. Thank you. It's been a
Fantastic.
long day.
I think it's been just.
Yeah.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Sisters Keeper, a platform where we discuss all things that are trending, all things that are interesting, all things entertaining, all things informative. And we will be giving our own personal opinions using our own experiences. So, Ruth, what is our chosen subject for today?
Hello.
Oh, hi, everyone. Yeah, so we are
Hello.
going to be talking about feminism and also about being a woman. Not so long ago, we celebrated International Women's Day, and I was struck by just what it would take to be a woman. And the word feminism kept coming, and I wanted us to talk about that. So, ladies, how have you been tackling these feminist issues and being a woman?
The feminist issue, I think it's about just celebrating. First of all, for me, when I hear feminism, just at least from the positive, it's starting to just celebrate what it has brought, equality in some places, like workplaces, sporting, and things like that. So it's celebrating, and the woman being given a voice. So it's celebrating things like that.
Yeah, I think, Ruth, you started to talk on a positive because usually when people hear the word feminism, it's associated with rebellion. It's associated with women moving out of their prescribed zones, where we should be and what we should be doing. But like you're saying, celebrating, for example, the International Women's Day, I believe that's what feminism is about, but it's also, personally, I think it's what you make it, because it's not everyone who enjoys being called a feminist. So I love being called a feminist. However, I believe it is what I make it.
Yeah. I mean, thanks, you guys. Feminism, I mean, it's just sort of knowing that there's no boundaries or there's no difference between a man and a woman.
There shouldn't be.
And I mean, for me, I was struck by that because I always think that as a woman, I should do this, I should do that. But I think I have found that I sort of switch in between what's convenient at the time,
Okay, yeah. So Ruth, I'm just really, so this is where my problem with the whole feminism is, when we say there's no differences between a man and a woman, because I am thinking now we are losing the things that we should celebrate about being a woman and the things that we should celebrate about being a man. So that's where I sort of say, okay, not to say that we are, when you say we're all the same, then I'm thinking, no, we're not,
Absolutely.
Women have the privilege to give birth. I know that science now is starting to maybe enable some men to get pregnant and experience that. But so this is where I kind of think no, men
we
and
are
women.
different. We are different, but I suppose in terms of equality and opportunities and fairness. So that's where I think the feminism comes into it. So for me, it wouldn't be about losing. I mean, okay, I'm 40 old. I don't want to call it girly, but losing the girliness, the womanhood, I think feminism is more about recognizing that gender is not a reason to not reach your potential, and gender should not be used for discrimination. So, but it starts, Ruth, what you said. You said you feel like some things you do because you're a woman.
Yes.
And I think it's because of our upbringing. So how we were brought up, you know, how were you brought up? You were brought up knowing who's going to tidy and clean the house. You.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
I actually want to differ a little bit from that, because my dad, and I think maybe this is where I kind of like struggle with it, because I never really experienced, you know, seeing a man saying, I'm the man of the house, I don't clean, I don't cook. And dad used to cook, dad used to do, well, just let me finish. And then I marry into a family as well, where my father-in-law, you'll find him cooking, you'll find him cleaning and doing jobs that would be called a woman's job.
Oh,
Go on, Faye.
Yeah, but so I do recognize that for sure. You know, dad and many others do the jobs that are prescribed for women back then, you know.
Yeah.
But did women do the jobs that were prescribed for men? So, for example, simple things like fixing a car. I never saw mom fixing a car.
Okay.
You know, I never saw mom. You know, she'd do gardening, but not.
Yeah.
I was gonna say exactly that. And not only would mom, you know, do the garden, but then you'll come to some things like, and I'll give a real life example again between our parents, mom and dad, where dad, because of his phobia of snakes, it was mom who came in to kill the snake when we had a snake in the yard. Mom became the man.
Well, I guess I could say I'm different, because I can't remember seeing my dad doing dishes.
All right.
As growing up. So, I mean, in a way, I just feel as though, you know, women, you know, as women, we do certain duties that we do that men don't do. But really, when you think about it, we're all working, we're all coming home. So, you know, it's just nice to come back home. Yeah, they have changed a lot. They definitely have.
You didn't see your dad doing the dishes. That was all right, because maybe your mom never saw anything wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mom,
yes.
It was okay. Mom, it was just black and white. She's in the kitchen, he's outside, or, you know.
Yeah. But in terms of work, I mean, like, do you think you'd aspire to be a mechanic, or do you tell your children that you can be anything? How has that influenced your life in terms of sort of moving forward about being a woman or a girl?
Things have changed so much now that it's actually come to a place where I'm starting to see that it's no longer a question of can a woman be this, can a woman be that, and I even see it more and hear it more in my 12-year-old. We were watching something the other day, and I would recommend it actually. It's called Dangerous Journeys to School. So this was a family in a village setting in Nepal, and the woman was actually taking the kids to school, and the man said there was going to be lions on the way, so they needed to be careful. So I made a remark and I said, oh, that man should have gone and not his wife. And then my daughter said, Mom, are you saying that the woman is not strong enough? That did stop me. And I thought, clever girl. But I think the world is changing, and our girls are growing up in a place where they're not having to think about, is this a man's job, or is this a woman's job, which is quite good. But again, this is where my little issue comes into place, to say sometimes, and I know I'll get bashed for this, to say sometimes maybe women may not be as physically strong as men in that comparison.
Oh yeah, you get totally bashed for that.
I know I will. But it doesn't stop. People from being able to do the jobs that, I
suppose this is where Ruth said we then choose to become, for example, women, you know, and or to become equal. Some jobs when it comes to lifting up, lifting up things and pushing and pulling, we sort of take a step back. Well, I take a step back, but I think I do that because I know that there is someone in the house who is able. If he wasn't here, I'd have to roll up my sleeves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do this job, but because there's someone subconscious, I just think, oh, well, here's a job for you. Not that I can do it, but I'm just assigning jobs. You do that one, I do this one.
Yeah. I mean, we had our women's conference the other day, and I was struck by our friend Charmaine, who said, you know what? I just rolled up my sleeve, and I'm thinking, woman, why would you want to be stripping the wall? That's not our job.
It's fun, honestly.
And I mean, to be honest, that really challenged me, because I'm a little bit like that. I do things that are designated to me, But
that you've designated to yourself.
Yeah, and then I've just been trying to work at because sometimes I would tell my husband to do something that I think I shouldn't be doing. For instance, maybe putting some oil in the car.
So you see, Ruth,
some water in the car. That's not my job.
You see now, so this is the problem that I have.
But I'm a strong feminist as well. But I do that, For example, I mean, ashamedly, I don't take out the bins, it's a mess.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's a man's job.
We have so many things that are, that are designated for males and females.
You hypocrites. So,
I will do it. If the bin is overflowing, all right, but I'll have a moan about it first.
Yeah.
No, honestly, this is my problem, Ruth, with this whole we are equal thing, and then starting to choose jobs. That is say, but I totally get what you're saying. I think in terms of relationships with husband and wife, that's totally different. There's always one taking the mick, and obviously, very different in the workplace where we're talking about equality of pay, and if I am bringing in the same expertise as another person, I should be paid the same. Just thinking about football, actually, I think there's a current issue going on at the moment with women footballers who don't get paid as much as men do.
Absolutely. It's the same for all sport and tennis.
Yeah, it's all sport, really.
My husband argues that in tennis, would they be able to do 5 rounds? And I'm like, easily.
Of course.
Serena Williams.
Yeah.
That woman can go 10 rounds, with Roger Federer,
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait I hope we can move towards where, women are paid just as much as for sports, especially, because I know, you can play basketball. You got I think there was an article the other time where they had a female athlete basketball player comparing them with, the top paid basketball player. And the difference, she gets 1/10 of the salary, or if anything, probably 1/1000 or something like that. I mean, it's just, it's crazy. So really, it would be good to see, the changes that, that can take place. But at the same time, sometimes, we all have different roles to play, isn't it, for us to sort of move on as a family or at a workplace. So definitely, I think I've been challenged a lot because sometimes it depends on what your focus is. You focus on the children. Do you want to raise them, or do you want to, whose duty is that, and you end up doing part-time jobs until the kids have grown, and then you're sort of giving up on yourself, isn't it? Like looking after the kids. But then that's somebody's, that can be fulfilling to someone.
So what is going to bring positive change then to the next generation? Because from what I'm gathering here, we were raised to, if you like, know our place, in a way, even though limited, but we were still raised to say women should or men should, and then we got married to the men that we've dragged along with us, who also believe that a woman's place, for example, they'll do the odd jobs or whatever. But how are we going to move forward for our children? How are we training them up so that it's different? Are we raising our girls to be feminists or?
Yeah, so for me, again, it's not a subject that we so much have in the house or indirectly. And oh my, if my husband was sat here, he'll be like, what are we talking about? So he irons, he cooks, and he does not stop about this. And honestly, he absolutely does what would be termed as a woman's job, as well as, so this is all in, I mean, my daughter can see this, our son can see that as well. So again, I'm not feeling, and then she's coming up with all these statements that she's bringing, where already I can hear her mind is, she already knows that she has equal rights to the opposite sex. And so I don't so much feel like I have a job to do in that way. But I'll let maybe Ruth answer that if you wanted to answer that, then I'll just bring up another point that I wanted to bring about what you're saying, Faye.
No, it's fine, Sandy. Go ahead.
Okay, all right.
Ruth, don't shy away from it. Ruth, you declared, are you a feminist or like Sandy?
As I said, I think I am a bit of both when it suits.
Yeah.
But I would like to move towards not knowing any boundaries of, to achieve anything. I shouldn't be bounded by the fact that I'm a woman.
Yeah.
So definitely I don't want that to happen. And as for, like Sandy said, you can only teach, like we have been taught by what we see, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so as you can see that, and I guess with all these sort of movements that happen, you can learn a lot, even from movies. You can also learn quite a lot. It can probably just sort of maybe aggravate something in your mind and say, hang on, you don't need this to happen. You can do it yourself. Do you know what I mean? So I'm totally.
So,
Okay, so
it's when we talk about. True. I am so itching to say this. I keep cutting across. I'm sorry.
Go on. Go on.
So, okay. So we're just saying, are we teaching our girls to be feminists? But I know a lot of men now who say, I am a feminist. And I know a lot of men who are standing for call it women's rights or voicing, and they actually call themselves feminists in that way.
They call
really? Oh my gosh, I really have to keep up.
Yeah.
So I
Sure.
just think it's not about teaching our girls, it's about teaching our boys as well, to say, and I can only speak from what I see happening at home, and I see my husband do this. And sometimes I'm having to stand up for our son when he does something to his sister. He always says, you can't do that to girls, which I absolutely applaud him for doing that and for teaching him that. But at the same time, me thinking this boy also needs defending, and his voice should not be quietened or hushed in the name of, of him protecting his sister. So this is where I'm just thinking, like, are we coming from a place of being victims as women when we continuously shout this out? And what about men? Are we putting them down so much where they will feel in the end they cannot stand for themselves or say anything, where they'll be told that's abuse or that's you? Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, to be
honest,
honest,
got boys, Faye. Come on.
I've got boys, and as you know, I don't raise them in terms of domesticated. I want them to know how to cook, if not for anybody else, for themselves. So they cook, they clean, they iron, they do all the domestic chores that they're supposed to be. And I always say to them, respect women and things like that. So as you've said it rightfully, that in as much as I'm raising girls to be girls, but boys as well to be boys, but to recognize that everybody there's no glass ceiling, everybody can be equally the same or take over any role that they want.
Absolutely.
However, yeah. But I mean, it's just about teaching the fair world. So it's just about being fair. If you think you're a computer analyst and you're getting paid 50,000, 100,000, and so should the woman if you're playing football or sport or whatever, that equally it should be the same. The mindset shouldn't really be changing or shifting from that, So I suppose, Sandy, you're right in saying that in raising girls, we should be raising boys equally who are voicing the equality of women. All right, so men are being trodden on, is true, but being a feminist is about amplifying the voice of the woman. I don't know, they might need to come up with another movement.
Faith, how do you feel about men who open doors for you, or
thank you, I was going to bring that up,
who leave a seat for you?
I don't have a problem with that. So because I'm old school, I was schooled by a very old young British woman, and I was taught how to be looked after by men, for example. But as I've grown up, and especially in my 40s now, look, I just push my way through, and if I do want to be treated like a woman. No, I do.
And those are the things some of the things I was saying that I feel we start to lose some of those things. I think it's called chivalry, where a man can I see my husband do it. He still opens the door for me.
Yes.
He still offers me a seat. So now what's going to happen now? You're on the train and a man is going to offer you a seat. Are you going to look at him like, are you offering me a seat because I am the weaker sex?
Of course, yes. That's what it is, isn't it?
But you say that, Sanji. I once worked in a place some years ago, and we had the same roles with this gentleman, and he was a Black African man. And each time I got up to do a certain job, or if we were asked to do jobs, he would actually say, after the supervisor had gone, he would say, "Sit down, my sister. You're a Black woman. You've been on your feet the whole day at home. I know that. Let me do it for you." Or they want to use our Black women. And in as much as I would be thinking, I suppose many times I should say to him, actually, can you stop? Come on.
Yeah.
First of all, we're at work. And secondly, if I feel it's too much, I can speak for myself. But I always thought to myself, I'm going to punish you and allow you to work. Because how dare you think I've been on my feet the whole day?
That's what I was saying.
Who would gladly, take that, isn't it? It's a favor,
but
isn't it?
It's not true, though. It's not true.
Yeah.
Like I was saying,
if
my husband was sat here, if I'm being really honest, that man is more on his feet, in a way. Equally, let me say, so for me to then take that and say, I am more on my feet at home, that's just not
but
true.
What I will agree
but go on. I was just gonna say maybe in different cultures, like you're saying, and then maybe with times have changed. Maybe in different cultures, different religions. That's where that's where I see the importance of the voice of the feminists to say, times up where it starts becoming oppression and abuse, and that's a no.
Discriminatory, yeah. I mean, I was going to say, especially after childbirth, you hear people saying women should the paternity and the maternity leave business, where men were not getting the same rights of staying at home to look after children, which is now there. Thank God for that, because equally men need to be home to raise the children, but also to look after the one
which they do,
birth, which we hope that many men do.
They do.
So,
go on.
But it's all right. Everybody loves to be pampered. I mean, my husband as well, he's so much on his feet, but at times when he's been on his feet for some time, that's when he reminds me, and he will say things like, "Oh, I'm doing your job. And then we obviously have but we have banter about it a lot to say, excuse me, which one is yours? And, but if men are getting better, as women are having the courage, because it's more about the one who is oppressed having the courage, because the platforms are now there to teach us, to allow us to rise up and say, no, come up on your feet as well, and stop, I can do that by myself, sort of thing.
Because you can't do everything, especially now, we all work and everything, it is quite difficult, isn't it? If you can then just combine that with the housework and everything. But, I think most people in the Western world have caught up with, helping each other. But definitely, I mean, like when you look at Africa, I think women mostly do things. I mean, everybody's raised to look after a man, isn't it? And, I mean, like recently.
Yes and no, Ruth. Well, I really want to totally move away from saying we are champions, we are amazing. And I just think everyone is amazing.
Yes, we should be.
There's some fathers who are raising children on their own, and I think they're doing an equally fantastic job.
So I think I'll amplify what Ruth is saying to say, in the Western world, human rights are more observed.
Okay.
And
all right.
It's a lot easier for platforms like ours to help people, to inform people. But when you look at a lot of people, I mean, I'll speak of Africa because that's where I'm from. That's where I know more about, like Ruth was saying. And the oppression is crazy. The oppression of a young girl starts, at a very tender age, from not going to school, allowing the boy child to go forward, the paying of bride price, my goodness me, that has a lot of, it's supposed
connotations to it.
Exactly. It's supposed to be a celebration, but men use it as an oppressive tool for some people. And then because you've been brought by a bride price, therefore you should be in the kitchen or be told what to do or not go above me or whatever, So there is a lot of learning still to be done.
There is.
For example, in Africa, that we, need to raise awareness.
Yeah, and when you talk about bride price, I'm just not saying this to like stand for the guys, but when you go into cultures like in India, I don't know too much about it, but I do know that the woman pays the bride price for the man.
Yes. And it's amazing, Sandy, because although I also don't know much about it, yet what we see is that the woman, well, traditionally, the woman used to still be under the man. Absolutely under the man, But
and then also you just see where in some places some of these things continue to actually work out well, in the sense of like when you talk about being under, I know that sounds like very oppressive, and it's kind of like going and linking on to going to like submission, where you're talking about should the woman submit, should the woman, and not just in religion, and just in like different cultures as well. So I just wanted to talk about like complementing each other, that in the same place, in the workplace, we can all still complement each other in that way, where maybe you might find a woman might probably find it easier to go to another woman in the workplace, and maybe it's not so much easier to go to another man, and vice versa, and things like that. So maybe sometimes what might look like where submission might look like oppression and things like that, it's just that I think it's just knowing we're all here to complement one another, despite our differences of whether you're a man or a woman. There's some things that you're going to be good at and I'm not, and not necessarily because of my sex, but because we're all different and all here to complement each other.
Absolutely. But like we were talking about in the workplace, it's true that women, we've come a long way. I don't know, when I look at the sector that I'm in, for example, social care, my bosses are women. I'm
Oh,
talking,
wow.
we've
Brilliant.
got women. However, when it
And
reaches
look at
to
how many women presidents we have now.
absolutely,
I know, right? That's amazing.
it's so encouraging from where we've come from.
Yeah.
So strides are being made,
Yeah,
one day at a
yeah,
time,
yeah.
so it's good, yeah.
It's really
So,
good. Yeah.
any
Yeah.
last words?
Any last words? Yeah, my last words would be obviously, as we speak about feminism, and I say this with much respect to maybe someone who has been in an abusive relationship, to say maybe sometimes, when people are speaking, it could be just that one man who behaved in a certain way that's given you a view, a terrible view or a negative view of what men are like, and then makes you speak in that way. But I'm definitely saying not all men are bad, and not all men are not for equality. And yeah, let's look out for one another
Yeah,
despite of our
absolutely.
genders. Yeah.
I mean, this topic really was just more about sort of, I think if you're a feminist, you're going to empower yourself as a woman, or if you care so much about yourself, you have to, to believe that you can do anything and that there's no boundaries about being a woman.
That's true.
That's it,
That's
really.
true.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from you girls today, and knowing who's a feminist, who to call when I'm having a crack up,
I don't think we have a particular feminist from this conversation we've had. We are women as well as being feminists at times, and discovering ourselves as we've grown. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, no, from what we just talked about, I think I've just taken away that a woman, a feminist is a person who should choose the life that they want to live. So it shouldn't be chosen for them. It shouldn't be ascribed. If somebody wants to be a mechanic or a president, that's what they should want. That's what they want to be, and that's what they should be encouraged to be.
Oh, perfect. Absolutely.
Brilliant. So, girls, fantastic as it has been, we have to end this conversation.
That's it. And let's just go. Let's go and be wonderful.
Yeah. I hope everybody enjoyed watching this. And subscribe.
That's true. Women's Tribe. Thanks, guys.
Brilliant.
Take care.
Love you guys. Take care. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.